Good morning, and happy Tuesday to you. This is Mary May, your leadership strategist. And we are on at a different time this week just because of my travel, but I did not want to miss out on the opportunity to connect with you on a Tuesday and be able to pour into your cup. With some nuggets in leadership that will be beneficial to you as well as those who experience you in this iteration of how it is that you pour into your cup and you grow. So I've been in travel. I have not had coffee the entire time. And I'm like, I am ready for the before I make any decision. Let me have some coffee or tea. So let me cheers to the coffee and let's chat. Mm-mm-mm. Yes. Let's dive into some of these leadership nuggets and get prepared for using the GPS, like understanding that when we come on Tuesday mornings normally, um before you make any decision, have your cup of coffee or tea. But this is a space to pour into your cup, be able to position and situate yourself, and understanding like what are some of the barriers, what are some of the things that may be blocking you, and like you don't even realize that it's like just simmering like in the background. So we're going to dive into this nugget today and assist you in gaining some insight on something very, very internal as far as us being humans in our role as a leader, but also something that like can really keep us stuck and unaware on how we're blocking ourselves. So the conversation today is um, are you or are your past accomplishments blocking your opportunity to level up? So when we talk about leveling up, are you in position, are you placing yourself in a strategy that is going to help you constantly be in that space of elevation, excuse me, elevation, and giving, and you're aware of the opportunities that are presented before you in a manner in which you as a leader realize that life happens and things tend to move us and situate us in different ways. However, when you are intentional, when you are aware of the things that are important to you in the space, that you are able to kind of acknowledge, okay, this is something that feels very, very similar to something else, but it's not the same experience because I'm not in the same place, not in the same mindset. I'm not in the same productivity level. My skills have elevated. Like there's been so much growth within you, but are your past accomplishments blocking your opportunity? So before I fully dive in, I want to let you know that engagement is welcome. So if you are here with me live, share some love in the comments. If you catch me on a replay and you share comments, I'll definitely come back and give you some feedback and acknowledge and thank you for being in this space as well. If in fact this conversation speaks to you or it speaks to someone else, feel free to also know that I have more information for you, more possible free gifts at my website at workwithmarymay.com. However, I do come on every Tuesday, normally at 7:30 in the morning before you get into your commute and into your day, so that you can activate your day the way that you need to, but hopefully with some a different perspective than what it is that you have. So as a leadership strategist, I identify challenges from a perspective of kind of pouring into you, peeling back the layers of the onion, and being able to help you find what is on the inside of you that's blocking the productivity of you being promoted, well paid, not overlooked, not invisible in the workplace. So when you think about how it is that you grow in life and leadership, we have to look at it, or I'm encouraging you to look at it from an aspect of metamorphosis of life and leadership. What happens to you in life has a purpose, rhyme, and a reason. whether you agree with the way that it happens, understand how things happen, everything is interchangeable, and the impact on you as a leader has both positives and some challenging moments, but the metamorphosis still occurs no matter what your level of engagement or awareness actually is. So when you think about accomplishments that you have had in the past, you have to look at what is it that you have secured already. Most cases, as a leader, you are a high thinker. As a leader, you are a high achiever. You have big goals for yourself, and you have great intention in regards to how it is that you would like to show up in the workplace, in your relationships, like just all across your entire life. So you may be someone who has secured that income that you were looking for, and and in doing so, you secured the income, you worked the job, and then something happened. Something happened where either the grant that was funding your role, or the mission and the purpose of the role that you had has been rearranged and rewritten. So then therefore the promotion that you were so excited for may be altered, changed. Maybe it's a role that doesn't prepare you for next leveling up, at least as far as you can see. So you may have done several things that already had you in a level up situation. Your drive, your motivation has also probably positioned you to know that it's mind over matter. And in the mind over matter, it takes us back to that metamorphosis of the life and leadership being an interchangeable impact. So with them being interchangeable, we have to realize that we're always growing if we're in our purpose. So if we're in our purpose, and if we're doing the work that really serves not only us but those who come in contact with us, then we're always evolving. And sometimes the challenge with always evolving is that you are internally building new muscle, you're building new territory and new experiences. So, what does that mean? That means that you may be getting another certificate. You may be getting some other new training. You may be broadening the muscles that you have never worked before in your skill set, so that you can be able to position yourself to claim the new territory, to claim with success the things that you want to see happen. But these new experiences are scaring everything out of you. You're like, do I deserve that? Am I supposed to be in this place? Am I, like what exactly like is actually happening? And so because the challenge for you internally begins to happen, that old self, your old thinking, your old patterns before you accomplish these variety of things, be it that promotion, be it secure relationships, be how you secured the income that you thought was the best income ever. But like, what is driving your success? Is there an old narrative that is creeping up and blocking your ability to really be able to peel back the layers and see what it is that is pausing you, or what it is that's handcuffing you, or what it is that's creating a scenario that your vision, your mission is being altered, but realizing that it's being altered for a purpose. So that internal struggle is the fight. And so, how it is that you choose to fight can be the mature version of you, or it could be the younger version of you. And the thing is that we battle with that every single time that there's an opportunity for us to level up. We're always questioning, are we supposed to be here, or are we supposed to have this gift of an opportunity in this particular time? So when you hear me talk about the GPS is a metaphor, but it's also a resource tool. So the GPS is a navigation that I created in leadership, and navigating your blueprint so that you can clearly identify if it's the mature you, or if it's the younger version of you, or the earlier version in your career, kind of driving your positioning of success. So we're setting goals, with clarity. We're positioning and planning ourselves so that you can have the strategy to always elevate yourself in every situation. So sometimes we may go into making a vision board at the start of a new goal, or we may go into and the vision board is great, but is the vision board living or is it stagnant? If it's living, then you're constantly implementing and strategizing and building that muscle and giving yourself breathing room so that you can elevate up. But you're also not allowing the goals to just sit stagnant on the vision board in the absence of implementation. So, that level of implementation is how it is that you decide that you're not going to fight the implementation. You're not going to fight the fear. You're not going to fight the impact that not only you will have, but the experience that you will have and building up even more. So with that internal struggle, you begin to look at how it is that your perception of doing the work versus waiting for something to be handed to you. If you're waiting for something to be handed to you, then you're also pausing the ability that you can have more than what it is that you want. Sometimes if you're waiting for something to be handed to you, you're in a room where with other people that they have different strategies, they have different learning, breathing rooms, they've built muscle in different capacities. So comparing your strengths or your goals or your strategies or the ways in which you've learned, then you have no opportunity. I mean, not no opportunity, but you limit your opportunity. Good morning. You limit your opportunity to being able to give yourself that breathing room to live in your own lane of genius and to live in your lane of excellence. So, in living in your lane of excellence, the mirror effect of you looking in the mirror should not be in comparison to other people's accomplishments, but it should be in comparison to what your capability is, and truly giving yourself opportunity to understand that your capability is fearfully and wonderfully made, but it's also only for you. When you sat at that conference table and you made those goals for yourself, you didn't really have a lot of other people around. And the outside influences is that comparison thing that creates a distraction where we have to kind of decide that something has to die in order for something to live. And what I mean by something having to die in order for something else to live, the way that you think about, the way that you activate, the way that you implement needs to have its own space so that it can live and not be stagnant. It can live and you could be in the same room with individuals, but not have that comparison theory, wondering what is it that I'm missing or what is it that I'm not doing. You can learn from the other energy in the room, but not comparing and saying, I can't do this because of somebody else. That's self-sabotage, but it's also creating your own um it's creating your own ceiling, your own limitation, your own identity in regards to how it is that you will show up. So the mirror effect is your own perception, your own limitations, your own brain space that kind of puts you in a place where you've made these different accomplishments. You've made the money that you wanted to make. You've gotten to the highest level of what it was that you were interested in. Like you have done a lot. But the reality is, are you celebrating your wins or are you stuck in the losses? Are you celebrating your wins in the things that you've gained? Have you forgiven your past? So when you think about celebrating your wins and you think about, how it was that you were able to level up in your career, probably earn, most money that you ever earned, that strived, you were driven for that. But something happened, and when you did that, you lost some things. Life kind of changed. And you're like, okay, well, what did I do all of that for? Well, you did all of that for because you were driven and you were in your purpose. The challenge is that from that internal struggle, do you believe the goal that you set for yourself? Because if you don't believe the goal that you set for yourself, then you will be in compromised conversation trying to understand that internal fight that you're having with celebrating the wins and forgiving the past. The gift about the past, if you have lost something, is one, acknowledging the trauma or the setbacks or the mental mindset that kind of shaped and framed for you. But then the other part is forgiving yourself for the things that you didn't know. You scored high, you had the drive to get there, and life kind of just happened beyond your control. Learn from what you didn't know. Learn from what you did know, but don't get stuck with the internal struggle and having like the old thinking patterns, or saying, well, it was on my vision board, but I didn't do anything to activate it. Or it was an illness that I learned about, at the doctor, but I didn't do anything to correct what that illness was driving. Or when I found out that I had this certain illness, I kind of just defaulted and allowed that distraction to kind of move move and direct what my path was. So when you have the different illnesses or things that kind of alter and change how it is that you feel about something, a diagnosis can get you stuck. A diagnosis can shift your focus and distract you from where it is that your drive was and celebrating the wins in your leadership. But in order to navigate how you can move past not allowing what you lost the last time that you were on this driving path, the last time that you had this energy to excel and just do everything so phenomenally well, is that you can't get stuck on the diagnosis. And being stuck on the diagnosis challenges you to like kind of just understand the diagnosis gives you the information needed for to navigating that GPS, like navigating what goals do you need to put in place. The diagnosis gives you what the possible outcomes are, but it also gives you that roadmap to say, this illness is not going to handcuff me. What is going to happen is I now know what strategies, what interventions, what resources, what tools that I need to put into place, and then get very, very driven on how it is that you move forward. Because how you move forward takes you out of having those old um thinking patterns, that old mental house or your brain like over functioning, because our brain consistently does exactly what we tell it to do. And until we build that muscle to help it understand that we are in a different space, we're in a different season, we're in a different mindset, it's going to always default us to that younger version self of us. And when we decide that we don't want to have that internal struggle any longer, we have to move out of those old thinking patterns. And so that mental, that emotional connection, whatever it is that makes us feel stuck, that goes into feeling like we're being overlooked, invisible, not seen, all of those different aspects, is that we have to be able to position ourselves and realize that, yes, the decisions that we made before, when we had the income that we wanted, when we had the promotion that we wanted, all of those things were there for a purpose. But possibly there's things that you were not aware of that caused you to have a shift. And in causing you to have a shift, are you now internally struggling and believing that the goal that you set for yourself is a real goal? If you don't believe that the goal is real, then you will find yourself having challenges with discipline, finding yourself in spaces of procrastination, as well as challenge with your commitment and unable to focus clearly. So you have to be able to move out of the old thinking patterns so that you're not over functioning and always drawing in that older version of self. And so when you're doing such, it requires work that you're also not comfortable with doing. Because remember, we were saying when you have the challenge internally, you are building new muscle, new territory, and new experiences that is uncomfortable. We know that we only grow when we're uncomfortable. And so you have to get comfortable and being uncomfortable so that that new muscle, that new territory, those opportunities that are there for you can be unveiled and you can receive them. But if you're operating, which is out of integrity, from a fear standpoint, then you block the opportunity for you to be able to continue to level up, and you go from one position of saying, okay, well, let me just get all of the hacks. What's the hack? How can I do this really, really quick? What's the DIY process of making this happen? And in doing that, you build resilience, but you're losing time. And you don't realize that the cost of that time that you are losing is putting you into that fear and scarcity mindset that's also limiting your provision or limiting your opportunity to be seen and visible and prepared for the leveling up experience that the distractions, are holding you back from. So what distractions are you putting in place for yourself? Are you trying to do it all yourself? Are you trying to just say, okay, well, I'm not going to start today, I'll start next Monday? What's happening in between the days that you say you're going to start next Monday that you can't just start then? Because as you navigate new goals, every time you do something, you're going to learn in a situation. And every time that something changes because you get new information, that's the strategy that's helping you build that muscle that's going to help you be able to position yourself in a more effective manner. So when you look at what distracts you from leveling up, are you focused more on the hacks, or are you focused more on what's going to position you so that you can, level up and be in a position to work most effectively in your space of leadership? And so realizing too that anything that distracts you is it has a purpose. It's distracting you from another version of yourself, but it's also distracting you from being able to get the desires of what it is that you deserve. And so when you're able to divert your attention from what's important, that distraction begins to have more power and influence to your impact than you would like to believe. So when you win, and when you realize that you identify what those distractions are, which the GPS blueprint helps you do that. When you identify what those distractions are, then you begin to build that breathing room, that resiliency, that strength, as well as pour into the strategy that's going to help you level up. But most times, because that internal struggle of procrastination, having self-discipline, and the ability to truly, truly focus on what it is that you're committed to, you usually struggle with, but the last time I did this, I failed. Or the last time I did this, I lost this particular thing. Every time you say the last time, you're focusing from a place of fear, and you really have to understand what is it that's really, really challenging you. Because if the challenge of what it is that you want is not, it should scare you a little bit. It should put you in an uncomfortable space, because if it didn't, you're not growing. So you have to be challenged, uncomfortable, become comfortable with being uncomfortable, and realizing that if you're going to spend time on the hacks versus the solution or the strategy, you're wasting time. You're saying, okay, I don't really deserve to have this level up in my life. My better relationships with loved ones, better relationships with people in my career, better opportunities with securing contracts, better opportunities with securing a raise, no longer being invisible and overlooked when your skill set is sitting right there. You're not waiting on somebody to hand you something. You are strategizing and navigating with what it is that you need to help being in position to level up. So when you win, and when you take that choice to choose you, the people around you and the people who experience you also win. And if they're winning, then it creates a different type of atmosphere of how it is that not only you level up, but as you level up, other people begin to get promoted and begin to get leveled up and begin to grow in a different way as well. So when you think about your distractions, you think about the things that pause you. A distraction like a phone call, a distraction like I'll do it later, a distraction that I'll start on Monday, when you have days in between that you can actually start now, you can start tomorrow. All of those distractions are things that speak to a deficiency in you. And the deficiency in you has more power and more influence on your ability to meet whatever that goal is that you set than the opportunity for you to like really take on the distractions head on and be able to say, okay, I'm no longer going to be deficient. I'm no longer going, your affirmation is, I am no longer distracted, because now you're functioning in a space with intentionality that you don't want the deficiencies in you to live. You don't want it to be mind over matter, that the deficiencies have more influence on every single decision, every single action that it is that you make. And they don't have the influence to kind of say, you know what, you got this diagnosis with this particular illness, and this illness is now the boss of you. No, rebuke that. The illness is not going to be the boss of you. The illness is something that you need to manage, identify, and understand. However, the illness is only giving you the roadmap for you to figure out the strategy, you to figure out the diagnosis and what interventions is going to help you implement and execute your life, your goals, your leadership, your expectations, your intentions, your everything that you want in your life that you deserve to be in a non-deficient manner. And when you do that, it's not going to be easy. You're going to need some breathing room in a way in which you can, kind of move from one strategy to the next unapologetically. But the thing is that's important is that you have to keep it simple. Be productive, but keep it simple. And keeping it simple and being productive, you have to respect your own time. You have to match the effort that you choose. You have to keep your word and being consistent and always be honest with yourself. Sometimes we overload and overfunction what some of our goals are, and we get so exhausted and tired. And sometimes that exhaustion comes from the mirror effect of comparing ourselves to other people versus knowing our own lane of genius. Yes, we're in the same room with individuals, but we're learning at different stages. And so, in learning at those different stages, understand your capacity as a leader and your vision is living. It's not stagnant, it's not stuck, it's not handcuffed. So when you be about that, you have to be very, very consistent on how it is that you activate and operate. So the thing is that, are you locked and loaded on and in your focus on your goal, or are you distracted and afraid of what could be a positive unknown outcome? The unknown outcome is the win. The unknown outcome may take you through a journey of some past failures or some past accomplishments, but you learned in those situations, and you don't want to be stuck and allow those experiences to drive how it is that you move forward. So, yes, if you had situations that put you on pause, changed and altered your mindset or your fear, maybe your family was impacted, you were impacted, whatever it is, you have to make the decision to be locked and loaded on the unknown and the uncomfortable, and to be able to set a goal that scares you, but that you know that you are more than capable. You might need more than the hacks. Instead of a hack of the do it yourself type situation, embrace getting a strategy with people or persons that have done these strategies before you, and they have already invested in the time that you would lose by going through the different hacks. All right, this is the quick fix, this is a quick band-aid, I could do this. No. Stop doing the band-aid, stop doing the do it yourself, and figure out how it is that you can stand for yourself, stand in your goals with intention, and have your vision and your actionable steps implemented and executed with success. We're about to go into the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter of the year takes us into how it is that we position ourselves for not only this last 3 months of the year, but also how we position ourselves for 2023. And so people think often, oh, well, I don't have to worry about that until it's New Year's Eve and I make a resolution. No, planning for 2023 is now. And so when you think about how it is that you are planning, how it is that you are showing up, you have to realize that it takes various strategies in order to do that. And so when you think about how are you positioning yourselves, you have to consider what distractions are blocking my ability to create, this lack, or this loss of opportunity, or this loss of insight. So when you think about the loss of insight, or you think about maybe what you have lost before, you have to be able to turn that noise off, understand what your takeaways from those moments were, so that you can level up unapologetically in the absence of being distracted and afraid. Because what is for you, what was at the conference table when either you prayed about it, thought about it, put it on a vision board for it to be implemented and activated, is for you. Like, it's only for you. Nobody else is going to understand how much it is for you and your own success, and you trusting yourself by staying consistent and building that breathing room, but you. So you have to be mindful of that. So are you locked and loaded on staying stuck and in handcuffs? Or are you locked and loaded on understanding how your goals can be a living situation that can help you move, a little bit forward? So the quote that I have for this morning is, success is no accident. It is hard work, it's perseverance, it's learning, it's studying, it's sacrifice, and most of all, you got to love what you're doing. So you got to love what it is that you're doing. So when you think about your success that you have had, that may have had some bumps in the road, some times where, the success didn't look the same or had some challenges, it's no accident in how you had those experiences. Remember, every moment, every season, everything that we do is preparing us, excuse me, is preparing us for what it is that we don't know. So it's going to take us to kind of stretch ourselves, stretch our mind in different ways. And it is hard work. It is going to take perseverance. It's going to take commitment. It's going to take learning and studying things that you don't know. And you're going to have to be hungry for that drive to be real. And realizing that what is for you is for you. And so in doing that, you do, have to put some provisions in place. And one of the things that I have kind of added into the process is set up for tomorrow, a webinar. It's 5 quick steps to level up your career for quarter 4. So it's a webinar. It starts at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's available both in person or virtual. So you can let me know if you are interested. I will put the link in the comments so that you can find a way to register. But it's like, get your visibility and your confidence clear. Have clarity in your goals so that you can not only stand in your space of excellence, but within your lane of genius, know what your GPS is going into quarter 4, because it's better to embrace that unknown fear or understand what's driving your success in a manner in which you can stand up for your lane of excellence, your lane of genius, but being visible, no longer being in handcuffs, knowing clearly what your goals mean to you and how it is that they activate the change that you desire. And so when you know how it is that you're activating your change, your expertise and everything else around you, people get to experience you differently. So life may have happened. However, life has happened. We don't have to be stuck there. We have to use that to navigate what we'll do differently. So that would be the goals in which I would want to, pour into you on, are you allowing your accomplishments of the past, the accomplishments of the past is that you've had promotions, you've had probably, some high paying grades, or, change in 2 millimeter shifts where you were able to level up in your career. And then possibly something in life happened where you lost everything, or those opportunities were no longer available to you. What is driving you in your success? Like, what truly is driving your success? Are you locked and loaded on not experiencing what you experienced before? Or can you be open and available to learning the nuggets from those moments, from that season, so that you can continue to level up to the next thing. Because the next opportunity is available to you, but you have to be open. You have to realize that every situation has a purpose and it has a season for building that muscle that you've never used before in a most effective manner. So, internally, are you fighting the current self, or are you fighting with the younger version of yourself, the earlier professional of you, or the earlier leader of you, and allowing those decisions and that energetic to kind of drive where it is that you go from here. So if you would like to join the workshop, again, I'll put the link to register. There is still space available for in-person or virtual opportunity for tomorrow afternoon. Otherwise, I believe we have covered our conversation for today. And I want to thank you for joining us either live or on the replay for this Tuesday conversation. Again, due to my travel, is the reason why it is later in the day today. But I didn't want the Tuesday to pass and us not be able to connect. As you can see, I'm back in my regular studio. So just want to thank you for joining for another Tuesday morning cup of coffee or tea or smoothie with your leadership strategist and leadership nuggets and Mary May. So if you're ready for your goals to kind of be broken through, breaking that glass ceiling, being able to level up the daily divorce of self, you can feel free to grab some time on my calendar with the link that's on the screen, or on my profile. So I look forward to serving you on the other side. And I want you to have a successful day in leadership. You take care.